Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Kizomba Conversations. As always, I'm your host, Victor. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest. This particular person is one of the best Kizomba teachers, period, on the dance scene. She's a ball of energy, an absolute joy to dance with, and her passion for Kizomba is off the charts. So let's welcome the wonderful, the amazing, the super talented Riquita Alta. Hello, Riquita.
Hello.
Hey, we are so happy you're here, and I think you know that because of the way we've been contacting you, trying to get you here. So we are very, very happy that you're here. So thank you for joining us.
No, my pleasure. Always ready to help.
Fantastic. Always ready to help and talk about Kizomba, right?
Of course.
Okay. So we're going to do just that. So we always start off with loads of questions. And for you, we have plenty to get through.
Yes.
It's because you're no. It's because you're such a legend in the game, and you've got so much knowledge, so much advice. So we're hoping that people can learn a lot from you on this particular episode.
Okay.
Yeah? The purpose of the podcast, as people know, is to spread the joy of Kizomba to as many people as we can reach, and you are definitely going to be helping us with that, Riquita.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
I hope so. Anyway.
No, 100%, 100%. So we always start at the beginning, and you teach in London.
Yes.
And obviously I know you from London, but many people know you as well, but we don't necessarily know you. So what we want to do is find out a little bit about you. Anything you want to share, but I'm just talking more about, maybe where you grew up. So this is actually before we even get into Kizomba. So we just want to find out a little bit about
background.
A bit about who Riquita is, and then we'll delve into the Kizomba part. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's
to
fine.
share with us.
Everyone
So
fine.
Who is Miss Alta?
Who is Miss Alta? As obviously the Portuguese people will know that Alta means tall. So yes, and as you know very well, I am 5'0". So therefore not tall at all. But that is actually my name. So I know that when people see me in social media, oh, Riquita Alta, and then they come and meet me, oh, but you're not tall. So I know I'm not tall. Anyway, moving on. I was born in Angola. Yeah, so as we know, that's where Kizomba is from. But I left at the age of 4 at the onset of the Civil War, because one of my parents, my father's Portuguese, so my mother's Angolan, my father's Portuguese. So a lot of people, they had Portuguese families or parents or grandparents or something. They kind of fled the country to, they fled the war basically to go to Portugal. And other countries. Some I think some went to Brazil, some went to different countries, but the majority went to Portugal. So that first influx of refugees happened in oh my God, I'm gonna say my age. Happened in 1975. Yes, that's how old I am.
She looks amazing. Forget the age. Anyway, yes, you were saying.
Right. Yes. So so we fled. Amidst shots. You could hear shots outside, and it's proper war. A civil war. The year before had been the war of independence from Angola, independence from Portugal. Sorry. And then 1975, I think. My history is a little bit hazy now, but 1975. A lot of us fled because the civil war ensued, isn't it? So we had to vacate the country, I guess, and move to the unknown.
Yeah.
It was the unknown. Yeah. So I do have some memories of that fateful night. I don't know. I remember just fleeing. My mom putting clothes on me, and then just I vividly I remember it, and hearing shots outside, and then just fleeing.
Yeah.
I got bitten on my finger by a parrot.
Oh wow!
I still have a scar there.
You still have that?
Well, we were, pit stop, bathroom break, I guess.
Yeah.
And then there was a cage with a parrot, and there I stick my finger in, and it bites me. Yeah.
Something to remind you of that as well.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes. No, it was. I was a kid, so to me that was an adventure, I guess. But I'm the youngest of my siblings, so I think they remember a lot more than I do.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it was more like we're just moving to another place.
Yeah.
Didn't really
Yeah.
register so much. I think for them it was hard, and for my parents, of
Yeah.
course. And then we moved to Portugal, and where we had to live in very cramped conditions. We actually had to sleep on the airport floors. Hundreds of families
Mm-hmm.
just sleeping on the airport floors because they didn't have anywhere to house us.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, we found like because some of our families were already there, so they would come to the airport to see if any of their families. But those days, telephones. I don't even think people had telephones.
Yeah.
So a cousin of ours found us there, and then he took us to where he was staying at the time. So it's this nice, very nice. We were very lucky, actually. Nice place called Troia, which is a peninsula on the south side of Lisbon, near a place called Setúbal, and they had just made those apartments that were meant to be for tourists. So,
Mm-hmm.
but they had houses. So, yes, that was like probably the best place we lived in, even though it was just a 1-bedroom apartment for a family of 6.
Wow.
But that was the best part. After that, we kept on being moved to other places and just sharing 1 bedroom per family.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, apartments with we were sharing 1 bedroom per family, 1 bathroom for 4 families, kind of thing. And but to me, as a child, oh, it was amazing.
Yeah. Adventure, right?
So many other
Yeah.
kids. Everybody was in the same situation. Lots of kids, and it was mostly countryside. So we would be
Mm-hmm.
playing outside amongst pine trees and eucalyptus trees and
Mm-hmm.
all sorts and dirt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we'd spend hours and hours outside playing. And yes, we had a lot of freedom. So I think there's always advantages and disadvantages, I guess. I think for children it's not so much of an issue. I think it's more for the adults. I think they suffered a lot more. However, everybody was on the same boat.
Yes.
So as Angolans, obviously it was mostly Angolan people at this point because we were fleeing the country, a war-torn country. So um, what did we have in
Mm-hmm.
common to celebrate? I don't know whether it be celebrate, but more to have more of a family spirit kind of thing, because we left everything behind. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of reminiscent of
Mm-hmm.
the family
Mm-hmm.
traditions, and so kind of what happened. We used to have parties, lots of parties. That's what they call it, festa de quintal.
Mm-hmm.
Quintal means backyard, like
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
festa is quintal. So backyard parties. So we would just have them there, in the refectory, canteen that we all had to eat. And yes, and I think this was our where we lived, the place where we lived. But there were many other places in Portugal where this was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Families thrown together
Mm-hmm.
in very cramped conditions. But however, we had each other, and we had, as Angolan people, and I think African people in general. In general, we like to eat good food. We like to have music, and we like to dance.
100%. Love it. Yeah.
So I've been dancing since, yeah, time immemorial, I
Time
guess. Since
immemorial.
since as long as I remember, I've been dancing.
Yeah.
So yes, so my love for dancing was born. I think I was born with it in a way, but yes, by just witnessing. And the kids,
Mm-hmm.
just run around, the adults
Mm-hmm.
dancing, and we're stepping on their feet. We learn by, you know, being on the grown-ups' feet, and that's how we learn. Kind of in those
Yeah.
days, I think even now people do that. So
Yes.
that's and then eventually we were housed in a permanent accommodations. Like again, families thrown together in the same, but we had our own space. We didn't have to share anymore. And by this time I was 12 or 13. And around age 13, that's when I actually started learning Kizomba,
Oh, okay.
which was not, yes, we used to, Kizombada actually means like parties.
Mhm.
Yeah, Kizomba, as we know, Kizomba means party, and then we say, oh, let's have a Kizombada. That's like a party with Angolan music, and not just necessarily Angolan music. We used to dance as couples, partner dance with anything, not just all sorts of African music, even Latin music. I think from what I heard, there was a record label called Plena, which was a thing for Latin music. And then we would dance the same steps that we do to Kizomba. We would dance it to Latin music, yeah. And so if you go to an Angolan party and they play salsa or bachata, you're gonna see us dancing with the Kizomba steps, but adapted to the Latin music. It's very fun. Nowadays, you don't see youngsters really doing it, but the older generation still do, and I love it. It's so much fun. So that's why we call that kind of dancing plena. Yeah, plena.
Okay.
It's fun. So we dance to everything, not just Angolan music. Of course, we didn't even have Kizomba music.
Yeah.
Back in those days, we used to dance to Riquita, Semba music, because obviously Semba is a very old, it's quite old. I think started in the 60s, if I'm not mistaken. It's quite old type of music, But Semba was danced not in couples. Semba, even though we did dance in couples as a partner dance to Semba music and to other kinds of music, Semba itself, we call it Masemba. Masemba is like touching of the bellies.
Okay.
So it used to be like in a circle, and then there'd be like two people in the middle, and then they would do the touching of the bellies. Called Masemba. Yes, Semba itself was from Masemba, which was danced in not as a partners, but although we could dance as partners, but the partner dance was mostly to any type of music, any African music, from any country, it would be fine. That's why we would dance. Yeah.
So lots have come out of that, and that's great. And thank you very much for
That's
sharing.
a lot.
No. This is why we're here. We want to hear this. So amazing. But obviously it's sad what happened there. But it's you said that obviously you were a kid, so it didn't necessarily affect you as much. Still, obviously would have affected you, and obviously your parents. But at least you were, I guess, young and maybe having fun every now and then with doing different things. So yeah, okay, right. So there you go. So that's cool. And then out of that, go to Portugal, and and then in terms of Kizomba, it's a thing where it was made for bringing people together, right? So out of sadness, we have some sort of positivity.
Of course.
In a great dance, which I love, absolutely love.
Right? Seriously, Kizomba hijacks everything. The moment you start dancing Kizomba, you don't want to dance anything else. I've seen enough people dancing other dances. The moment they sampled Kizomba, they totally forgot the other dances and they're just dancing Kizomba.
My wife introduced me to Kizomba. We used to dance salsa. She introduced me to Kizomba. I left salsa.
I know plenty of people who have left salsa for Kizomba.
It's one of those things.
Although I do dance salsa, but I didn't leave Kizomba for salsa.
Oh, okay.
I dance both.
Dance both. Okay. I shouldn't say I leave. I dabble still in it.
Yeah,
but hey,
you still do it once in a
taken
while.
over, because it's beautiful. Okay. No, but again, thank you so much for sharing.
That music just makes you want to dance.
That's why we're here, right?
There's no music like Kizomba. I'm sorry. No music like Kizomba.
No,
I'm letting you know now. Nothing like Kizomba. Although, we'll continue and I'll tell you later. It's not my favorite music. I love Kizomba. I'll tell you.
Okay, cool. We'll remember to ask what that is. But I just want to go back quickly because you said you picked it up around 12, 13. Is that right? When you started learning?
Because what happened, like I said, we used to dance as couples to most sorts of music, but we didn't have the steps that we have now. Basically, we only had the basic, which we had the virgula and the reverse virgula. That's what we had. Not much else. So then we started to dance too, and this is where my favorite kind of music comes from. Zouk.
Zouk. Okay. Yes. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
So we cannot talk about Kizomba without talking about Zouk.
Okay.
So for those of you that don't know what Zouk is a type of music. They say that the fathers of Zouk, the creators of Zouk, were a band called Kassav. I think a lot of people will know who Kassav are. Kassav. They're amazing, absolutely amazing. And I think if memory serves me right, again, age. Memory just doesn't, it's not the same as before. So I think they toured Africa in 1983.
Mhm.
At that point, I was 12. Oh my God, I keep on saying my age. Why what's happening here? Anyway, so they toured Africa, and obviously they went to Angola, and it kind of exploded. People were just so in love with this. Who are these? What type of music? It's got a little bit of the African beat, but it's a different kind of beat as well. And from what I know, Zouk is also a fusion of compa and I think calypso and cadence, but don't quote me on that. I know compa for sure, and is it cadence? I think from Dominica. I'm not sure. But don't quote me on that. But I know it's a fusion as well, and I know compa for sure. And people just are like, "Oh my God, what is this type of music?" And it's quite fast. Some of them were slower, some of them were fast. And the first time I heard it, so because of the civil war, a lot of families were in Portugal. So if people in Angola had families in Portugal, what they would do, they would send their children before the age of conscription. Is it conscription you say? Yeah. To their families in Portugal. So one such person was one of my cousins. Well, actually, two of my cousins. And so they came, and one of them, to this day, the people in my neighborhood call him Kassav.
Okay.
Because he brought this album.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, in Angola, they knew. In Portugal, not many people knew. But the way that we knew is from people from Angola coming to Portugal. And he brought this album, vinyl, those days, vinyl.
Those days, not many people.
Amazing. Vinyl is still very good.
Anyway.
And he brought, album of Kassav. And then I heard the first song, that Zouk la Sesame de Kamonunu, something like that. I may be butchering it, but this is, anyway. So I heard that song, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So obviously at this point, I'm too young to go to clubs. I think only about that time, some clubs started springing up in Lisbon. There's one it's called Bon Ton. Well, I think it was one of the first ones. I never went to that one because I was way too young. Although in those days they did let young people, teenagers, go into the matinees, the clubs. So I never went to that one. But the backyard parties, like we said, and the neighbors were having parties or outside. We'd just party outside, and then they started playing Kassav. And then all these Angolan people were coming, all these young men were coming to Portugal, and they were bringing all these new steps. Initially, it was all very basic. Like I said, it was mostly just doing virgulas and reverse virgulas. And then I even remember watching this video. It is on YouTube, this group called Africa Tentação. And in one of their songs, I think it's Sofia Rosa, I'm not sure the name of the song. Could be that one, or could be, Autocarro 45. These are songs, and from this group, they were very famous as well. And I actually watched it a few years ago. I didn't watch it back then. And I could see them already doing a little bit more and doing like casamento and say, oh, so this, I didn't realize that casamento was as old as 1983 or 1984.
So, Riquita, can I just, because some people will be new to Kizomba watching this, so you've mentioned Vugula, casamento. Can you just maybe very briefly explain what they are?
So, when we call it Saída, casamento is part of Saída. Saída, obviously with Kizomba, Saída means exit.
Yes.
So Kizomba, we dance in couples, we dance close, right? But when we're doing the Saídas, like either the men are pulling the lady to the side or they're going to the side. Actually, we didn't even call it Saída. Back then, we used to call it por de lado. Por de lado means put on the side. That's what it means. And a lot of people, if you speak to the majority of Angolans that don't even know what dance classes are, Kizomba classes are, they will say, oh, por de lado.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that means put the lady to the side. So casamento means marriage.
Right.
So you're marrying the men's saída, where the man goes out, with the lady saída, where the woman goes out of the frame. When we say saída, is exit from the frame.
That's casamento.
Yes. And virgula is the rotation. That because Kizomba is a circular dance, as we know. So the virgula is the rotation that you do with a little bit of what we call a cha-cha step or the shuffle step, or and that's what. And there's other terms like they call it retrocesso, when it's when you change direction, and then you do that little shuffle step. But yes, the virgula that's what makes the rotation. Is Vírgula, retrocesso, and later on became what we call estrela. They're like the three main basics of Kizomba. Yes, Kizomba has a lot of basics, but those are the main ones. If you can do that and if you can just dance on that without doing any saídas, you'll be perfect. If you can do it well, fantastic.
Yeah,
so as I was saying with the Zouk, we started dancing to Zouk music. So most of the 80s and early 90s, we didn't have Kizomba music per se. We never had Kizomba music, but we had Semba music and Rebita and other types of dancing. And there was at the time there was like cabetula, viola. These are different types of dancing, not couple dances. But I think Rebita was kind of a couple dance. And we started dancing to Zouk music. So, like I said, throughout the 80s and early 90s, all the clubs played primarily, maybe 99% of the music was Zouk music. So we have a lot to thank the Zouk community. Not to confuse with the Brazilian Zouk. That has nothing to do with Zouk music. Zouk music was already there many years ago, from early 80s or even late 70s, I think. Zouk has already been there. Brazilian Zouk has nothing to do with it, so don't confuse it. Okay. And yes, we were just dancing to Zouk music. Yes, we had Bonga. Bonga is a huge name in Angola, and we had Carlos Buriti, which is amazing. Which I was very, very blessed to have been able to see him before he passed away. So it's one of the very, very big names in Angola.
In Angola?
Here in a few years ago, before COVID. Yeah,
okay,
just before COVID. So it's amazing singer. So we have quite a few big names that used to sing Semba and more traditional music. But then Zouk just took over. So I fell in love with Zouk. So when I say I love Kizomba, I love Semba, but Zouk is in my heart.
Okay, well, I always have a question that I ask my guests, but you've just answered that already in terms of what your favorite is, so we don't need to go there anymore. So it's Zouk, basically.
Retro Zouk.
Retro
Zouk. Because not the modern Zouk. Yes, retro Zouk. This is part of my journey through Kizomba, through the dance itself. We didn't used to call it Kizomba. We call it either Passada or another name that a lot of people don't know, but we used to call it Bailada. Yeah, Bailada comes from the word baile. Baile is like ball. Yeah, so we used to call it Bailada. Actually, even more than Passada, we used to call it Bailada. Passada means steps or walking. Yeah, so that's what Passada. So sometimes they used to say, so as passadas, yeah, the steps, is if somebody danced really well.
Yeah. Okay.
So kind of came from, yes, we're going to hear a little bit of Portuguese coming.
That's good.
Coming from me. But yeah, so that's how, and the reason I know all of this, again, coming back to my age, I was there.
You was there.
Okay. I basically grew up dancing Kizomba. So I started learning Kizomba at the same time that Kizomba as a dance, which was bailada or passada kind of came to be. So then, like I said, it became so big that we like people in Portugal, all the diaspora, all the people that came from Angola, they went out dancing. And they were like making up steps as well, but a lot of these new steps that were coming was from Angola. So happens that 1986, I was lucky enough to go with my mother back to Angola. So it was our cousin's wedding, so we went there, stayed there for 2 months. It was so exciting. I was 15 years old, and I already knew a little bit of Kizomba. It wasn't great. However, it's just basic. And then I went for this wedding, and then we went to a few other parties, and that's where I properly learned Kizomba.
I see.
At 15 years old, I wasn't very good, but I was like, I was one of those, I'm a trier. Let's try.
Yeah.
So I went and I tried, and after a while, everybody was dancing with me.
Oh.
And I was learning more, and my cousins could dance. I was like, you know what, let's dance. Then I remember, but I wasn't amazing. Then I continued dancing, and then age of 18, that was just before I came to London. I even remember some of my cousins' friends, they moved to Portugal as well. And then we're going to clubs. This is in the club. At this point, at 17, I started going to clubs in Lisbon. There was one specific one which was very famous. It was a Sunday matinee. This club was called If.
Okay.
Yes. It was a small shopping center, very small shopping center. And this club, If, was on the basement. And they also had a shop there that sold a record store. So they had the best music because the record store would bring all of these new Zouk songs. So I started going to the matinees when I was 17, the Sunday matinees. So we'd get there. We were the first ones to get there, 5 o'clock, and then we'd end at 10 p.m. And I would not stop dancing from the moment they opened the dance floor until the end. I was dancing nonstop. So when like some of my cousin's friends came and they were going out dancing, and I remember him saying to me, the guy saying to my cousin, "Oh, can she dance? Because she wasn't very good in Angola."
Oh, wow, really?
Well, I learned, but I'm still very. And then they
Yeah.
said, "Oh, just go and dance with her." And then they would come and dance with me. I'm like, "Oh my God, you've changed a lot."
Yes.
Well, yeah, because I've been dancing. I love to dance. I mean, it's in my blood. I just love to dance Kizomba. Anything but Kizomba. It's
Well, the next question literally is, listen to this. So it's basically saying, I know you love dancing, okay, just from knowing you. And it said, you're always happy to dance. And, if I ask you to dance, you never say no, and never say no to me. I don't think I've ever seen you say no to anyone. But anyway, if they ask you to dance. But, I'm nowhere near your level, but you're always patient and you dance with me. All right?
Yes, but you are very good. You need to give yourself some credit. You are quite good.
What I want to ask you is, what is it? What is it about Kizomba? Well, it's Kizomba Conversations, but you like to dance. But what is it about Kizomba that you love so much?
Music.
Music.
Let's start with that. Any teacher that is worth their salt is going to tell you that the first thing is music. Before you even start dancing, you need to listen to the music because you need to get acquainted with it, because there's so many nuances with the music. There's so many different breaks and up and down. Song goes up, goes down, slows down, speeds up. So you need to always follow that because you need to be very connected. I don't know if I know you've heard this many times when we're talking about Kizomba connection.
Yes.
Connection is very important, but people think connection has to be with your partner, that you need to be close. That's not necessary because you can dance far away from your partner without actually body connection, and you still have connection. But connection, in my view, connection is always going to be to the music.
Okay.
So it's connection to the music. So if you connect to the music, so kind of both of you connect to the music, but like because the leader is the one that's leading the step, so he connects to the music, and then the follower will connect to the leader.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Not because obviously we are an extension. We're like a mirror. The followers are the mirror, the reflection of the leaders. Because the way that I know Kizomba to be is like when you're dancing, you need to look like one. That's that connection. You need to look like one, even if you're not even close, but you need to look like one. So it needs to be it's like a symbiotic relationship, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, so when you need to know me, obviously, because I've been doing this for a long time, and I don't do it with everyone. Obviously, I do it with those that I'm very comfortable with. And yes, they are. They have to connect to the music, but I also connect to the music as a follower. And sometimes I always say to the followers, you need to follow the leader. You need to follow. You need to adapt. Your body needs to mold itself to the leader's. Not the body, but the body movement, yes. However, I also know the music. And depending on the person I'm dancing with, I know that they're always going to do what I want them to do. But what I do, and I do sometimes very subtly, I move them. I move in a way that they will end up following me, but just for a couple of seconds. And then they realize, oh, this is what she wants. And then they do it. But you can't just do it to everyone. Please do not, as followers, do not do that. You have the freedom to do whatever you want. When they open the frame and they let you go, then you do your thing. But when you're dancing in frame, or try to always follow, mold your body, and your movements to the men's movements. But again, you can sometimes change the course of the dance.
Okay.
I don't advise if you're a beginner,
Okay.
and not with just anyone. It needs to be with somebody that you are very comfortable with. But I do that sometimes. I tend to do that because obviously I know you're gonna get to that. But I teach Kizomba, so I tend to do a lot of that with when I'm dancing with the students, especially if I'm following a leader. So by me kind of back leading, please do not try this at home. I make them follow me, so then they know how to lead. A few years ago,
Beautiful.
me and myself and Rashida, Rashida
Yes.
Forbes, we did like these workshops. Maybe I should do it again. I don't know. I'll think about it. Yes, we did this workshop where we were teaching the ladies to lead, but we're teaching the followers to lead and the leaders to follow. When you do that, you're more able to feel the other side, so you know what the other side feels. So and you can become a better dancer. So that's why I always say, if you're a teacher, especially if you teach on your own, like I teach on my own, but even if you don't, it's important that you know how to dance both sides, the leader and the follower. Because sometimes, especially if it's a leader that is teaching on his own, but he doesn't know the women's steps, so then all the women, the followers. I'm trying to be politically correct here, saying leaders and followers.
Yes. No, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
But it will slip. I'm gonna say
okay.
ladies and gents, but oftentimes the followers feel cheated because they say, well, you're teaching the men how to lead, but where do I fit? I'm just following. And oftentimes, oh, you just have to follow. That's not true. You don't just have to follow. You still need to know the movements. You need to know where to step, how to react to the lead. So it's important to learn. So as a teacher, if you're going to be a good teacher to me, and there may be people that don't agree with me, I'm not here to try to please other people. I'm here for my experience.
Absolutely.
A teacher needs to do both. Needs to know how to do both. At least, possibly. If you're a leader, you need to know some of the followers' moves. And if you're a follower, obviously me as myself, I teach on my own. I have to teach both sides, right? I have to teach the lead and the follow, which I've been doing for a long time.
Yeah.
So
that's good. And I agree with you. So we have conversations about it, and so I want to learn how to be a follower myself, because I think it will help my dance. Well, I know it will help my dance. If I know, if I'm leading a lady or someone, I'm leading them into a move, I know, okay, right, her weight's here. It just helps me in my mind be a bit clearer of what I can do, right? So I totally agree with that. In terms of that. So, but what I wanted to ask you on this topic while we're on it, it's going to come a bit later, but we're going to ask it now. So,
I jumped the gun.
no, it's good because we're here, and I want to find out. And I've asked this question before, but you touched on it. But who has the more responsibility, or is it equal? I know that might sound like a silly question, but you just mentioned that the follower has to be active as well. So when a leader is leading, does the follower need to match them, or is the onus always on the leader to be in charge?
The leader is in charge. The leader is in charge because he's the one leading, So the follower is not going to be able to dance unless you have somebody to lead you. Yes, as it is a partner dance. If I want to dance on my own, I can do whatever I want. Even sometimes there are songs that I don't particularly want to dance with anybody. Some songs that just remind you, you bring back some memories, and you just want to dance on your own. I do whatever I want. I dance. I can dance as a leader. I can dance as a follower, and I just dance. But if you are dancing with a couple, somebody has to lead you. Same with salsa. I mean, if you let go, then the floor is yours. But if you are within that frame, it's the onus is on the leader to lead. And we as followers, we just, again, we are an extension. So we mirror what they do. We literally are the mirror image of what the leader does, but we're not going to do, I'm not just going to dance with somebody without them leading me. So
exactly.
When I say an active role, like in a sense that you are following what the leader is doing, but the active can also be when you are the frame is open. When it's closed frame, it's all on the leader, yeah, and we're following. But when it's an open frame where the lady has more, has more scope, can do a lot more things, then she can start do a few things, and then the leader will kind of see that, okay, let me play with it. It can be very playful,
Yeah.
right? But yes, the more active role is the leader role. Again, there may be people that don't agree with me. Oh well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But with any dance, with any partner dance,
Yeah.
we can have an active role. Followers can have an active role, but it depends on when
Yeah,
within that
absolutely.
dance.
Yeah, so especially for people who may be, new to the dance, it's important that they kind of hear this, because sometimes you probably heard the term, oh, just follow, right? And it's not, you don't just follow all the time.
No.
You have to be a little bit active as well. So you have to,
Yes.
as a follower, you need to, and I really like what you say about, connection, but not just with the partner, which is, we get taught to be connected with our partner, absolutely. But if you connect with the music first, so you're the first vessel, and then that goes through you, transmits to the
follower.
to the follower, and then so that for me is pretty amazing to hear.
But that's how
Yeah.
it should be, because you're not just gonna dance. It, like painting by numbers.
Yeah.
You're not just gonna dance. Okay, you know the steps. Now I'm just gonna do 101 steps
Yes.
that I've learned.
Yes.
And forget about the foundation. Forget just gonna do all of these steps, and then what? Where is the music? Where does it fit into it? Yeah, the music fits into. Actually, the dance fits into the music.
Yeah.
That's how it works. So, um, like I said, the music has many nuances. Kizomba, oh my God, it's got so many nuances. So many. There's lots of breaks, and like I said, the slow bits, fast bits, and and you have to account for that. So it's important to, as a student, listen to as much music as you can, because then you become acquainted with the music. You become acquainted with the beats, and and when it's going to change. Sometimes I don't even know the music, but I know by the way that it builds up. I know where it's going to drop. The beat's going to drop. I know when,
Yeah. Yeah.
Important music is the most important thing.
So you mentioned there it's important to listen to the music. So, I listen to Kizomba quite a lot. But do you ever, like, you're at the bus stop or the train station or something, you're just listening and you're just dancing?
Yes.
Does it ever happen?
And then I start
People
looking
look
at
at
the
you. Yeah.
I start looking at the cameras. Where are the cameras? Where the cameras at?
Exactly.
I just go a little bit.
Yeah, exactly, right?
And I was like, oh,
you want to dance.
all these guys, they're cameras. And then I want to dance, but at the same time, oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny.
I should just start busting some moves in and forget about what people say, right? I'm not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
But some people do that, especially if they're in groups. I've seen like people doing in airports and bus stops, and they just put the music on and they just start dancing, which is fun. Why not?
Exactly.
You're not hurting anybody. Dance.
Exactly.
Dancing is fun.
Like we said, like you said, it's addictive. So you knew people, it's addictive. This is what's gonna happen.
Oh my goodness. It's like
yeah.
yes, some people call it a drug because it's the music.
Yeah.
Yes, they love the dance, but I think what gets people to Kizomba is the music. So yes, the music has changed a lot throughout the years. Now we hear a lot of Semba. We don't even hear so much Kizomba anymore. But Kizomba as a dance, as a music genre, came about 1990, something like that. Because it was a fusion. It was like they called the father of Kizomba. They call Eduardo Pain the father of Kizomba, but he wasn't the only one. There were others like Ruca Van Doon and Ricardo Abreu. There were others that were already experimenting with fusing Zouk music, because Zouk has got that like very strong beat, yes, with Angolan rhythms, yeah. And then that became a fusion. So initially, the Kizomba songs sounded a lot like Zouk or compa. That's what they sounded a lot like. Then they started putting the instruments that we hear in Semba, like the kanza and the Congolese guitar and all of this. So, but it was mostly you could tell the difference just by the beat, and the beat was the very strong Zouk beat. So we have a huge influence. Zouk really influenced Kizomba music, and we didn't have a name. Like I said, the name Passada, Bailada, that's what we used to call it. I think somebody once asked Eduardo Pain, "Oh, what's the name of this type of music?" And then Kizomba, Zouk, from my knowledge, from what I was told, Zouk means party. So Kizomba also means party. So I think because of that, they asked him, what is the name of the song? This is what I was told. I was told by him, Eduardo, by myself, and I was told by other people, what does it mean? And then he said, oh, I'm going to call it Kizomba, to because of Zouk, also being called party. And it stuck.
Yeah.
And then initially we're like, I loved it. I was, oh my God, what's this new type of music? I was so excited. As you can see, I get very excited about the music. And then for quite a few time, because there was a period like between mid-90s, late 90s, kind of thing, that we heard a lot of Cape Verdean doing Kizomba. Yeah. So at some point we stopped listening to Zouk music. The music they started slowing down the music. Not that we didn't have, a lot of people think that Kizomba used to be very fast back in the day. And no, Zouk music, we had fast Zouk, we had slow Zouk, it didn't matter, but we still danced to the beat. Then they started slowing down the music. And obviously, because like all the other PALOP countries, and I'm assuming if people don't know what PALOP is, it's the acronym for Portuguese-speaking African countries. PALOP, P-A-L-O-P, means Países Africanos de Língua Oficial Portuguesa, which I just explained to you what it was. So the 5 countries that they started doing the same thing, mixing Zouk with their own.
What are the 5? What are the 5 countries?
Oh, sorry, have Angola, Cape Verde, Guinea-Bissau, São Tomé e Príncipe, Mozambique.
Okay.
I think there's been another one added, Equatorial Guinea, if I'm not mistaken, has been added recently onto the PALOP countries, but initially it was just 5 countries. So back then they were doing this. They were also following in the footsteps of the Angolan predecessors like Eduardo Paim and company. And they also started fusing the music, the Zouk, with their own. Like with Cape Verde, I think would be Zouk with coladeira. And coladeira is a very, very typical Cape Verde music. And then they started kind of slowing down the music. And then that's when, at some point, we had Tarraxinha. Tarraxinha is like the more like slowish, even though I must say, Tarraxinha, back when it started, some of them were actually quite fast. To this day, if they play the music, people will think it's Semba, and they'll dance fast.
I can't imagine fast Tarraxinha.
No, the music itself, but you can slow down because within the beat you have the main beat, but then you have you can count. You stepping onto you step once and on 2 beats. Stepping on 2 beats. So yes, and they had a very, very strong beat. Of Tarraxinha has a quite a strong beat. And then it started slowing down and more and more and more. And then for quite a few years, nobody did any passadas, saídas, por de lado. Nobody did that. For many years, I was very upset. I was very, very upset. So, but then at this point, I got married. I had a child. I wasn't going out anywhere, as you do sometimes when you get married. Yeah. And but anyway, so within that time period that I wasn't active on the dance scene, everything was Tarraxinha. Like basically there was no more. But then for at least a good decade, the Cape Verdeans ruled the airwaves in terms of Kizomba. They really did, and the music is amazing. Really, really, really good. But yes, so I came to London. Probably it's going to be one of your questions, and I'm already.
It's okay. Go for it. Go for it. It's fine.
Preempting you. Cool. I came to London in 1989, maybe. I was 18 when I came to London. Came as an au pair, and there was a very small Angolan community here. And then so a lot of people don't know this, but those that were there, we know. So there was this gentleman he's also Angolan, called Alex Gurgel, and he opened the first Kizomba club in London. It was in a club in Oxford Street called 79. Don't know if it still existed. I don't think it exists anymore.
Okay.
But it was called Club 79. So I think it was between Tottenham Court Road and Oxford Circus. I think it was in between there. And it was every Sunday matinee, kind of reminiscent of If. Yes. By the time I left Portugal, there were a few other Kizomba clubs. And I used to go like every year. I used to go 3 times a year to Portugal just to dance. Oh my gosh. All my friends were there. I was like, I want to dance. And then he opened this matinee in London, in Oxford Street, Club 79. And like the whole of the Kizomba, the Angolan community here, not just Angolan, but obviously the majority were Angolan, and we used to go to this club. And I remember once, a couple of times they had like competitions. Yeah, it was small scale competitions because we weren't that many, but I with another this gentleman. I want to call him gentleman to be polite. Well, he's nice. He's a nice guy, a really nice guy. We decided, okay, impromptu competition. And then he says, oh, let's dance together. Yes, let's dance together. And then we won.
You won? Oh,
yes,
congratulations.
Yes, it was like, again, small scale competition.
But hey, you won.
Won the competition, and it was fun. But like I said, Kizomba was not, throughout the years, more steps were added, and then there were many styles, many genres. There was one that we kind of used to sway like the wind. We looked like we were swaying. And there was another one that we call cavalinho. Cavalinho is a little horse that we used to kind of jump. Now it's grounded. Don't jump. Don't bounce is what they say. But back then, I mean, we had different kinds, different genres. And I'm very fortunate to be able to have experienced all of this. A lot of people that I knew, they can only experience from their starting point, but I experienced from the starting point of Kizomba in a sense. Yes, amazing, so I've been through a lot of
Purist.
A bit.
Yeah.
A lot.
No, listen, Riquita, this is great, and it's great to find out about all this stuff. So this is amazing. So I wanted to ask you then, teaching wise. Okay, so you're one of the best teachers out there. How many years have you been teaching, and when did you realize you wanted to teach?
Okay, this is a story in itself. So the first time ever that I taught, I was 18 years old in Portugal before I moved to London. So my best friend, this is a story that I've told many people already. My best friend, she had moved to London the year before because she's a year older than me. And mind you, we've been best friends for almost 40 something years. Because she was also a refugee. So we met when we came to Portugal. We fled in the same country. We're in Troia. The same, yes. So we've been best friends ever since. She came on holiday to Portugal and she wanted to go out dancing. She didn't know how to dance Kizomba. And I was like, me going like every weekend going out dancing. So she wanted to go out and experience dancing Kizomba. So she was always the shy type. And then I said, okay, we have to remedy that, right? So we spent one afternoon. I even have pictures of me teaching her that day. And she, it was one Saturday afternoon, I think, that I taught her to dance. But in order for me to teach her to dance, I had to learn the men's steps. I was very good back then. I was very good at, even now I can still do it at reversing. So I was like, okay, as a woman, this is what I'm going to do. So my foot's going to go there. So what will the men do? Which way? And I was able to position myself in, within the men's steps, the leader steps. And so I taught her in one afternoon, like she says many times, if I was to use the same techniques now that I use with her, I would have been sued by now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was very strict, I think she got slapped on her back a few times.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay.
But hey, I do not condone, right? Do not condone that kind of attitude. So way of teaching. So, but whatever I did, it worked. So later that same night we went dancing
Mhm.
to this club called, used to be a theater, but it changed into a club. It's called club called Mayombe
Mhm.
in Lisbon. It's quite big. It was a basement, but it was
Mhm.
huge. It was absolutely huge. So I took her there, and I don't know what I did or what she did. I never leave the dance floor. Normally, when I never left. People always asking me to dance.
Yeah, yeah.
But she, I think, danced more than me.
Oh, wow.
I said, that is not fair, right? Here I am, the experienced one,
Yeah.
and here you are,
Yeah.
newbie, and you dancing
Dancing all
like.
night.
Yes, she learned. Yes, she was able to learn in one afternoon
Wow.
because I was very strict.
Wow. Wow.
But that's how I learned to lead. Of course,
Yeah.
I wasn't like an amazing lead. I'm not saying that I'm an amazing lead, but I can lead
Mhm.
fairly well at this point. It's been too many years, and so that was my first foray into teaching.
Mhm.
You're okay now. I'm not using the same methods anymore.
We're safe.
You're safe.
Yeah.
And then obviously I came to London, and
Mhm.
then like I said, we were dancing these matinees, and then other clubs opened, and then I got married, and for many years I didn't dance. And then in around 2001, I think, got divorced, started going out, but I nobody really was dancing Kizomba. So the only places where they were dancing Kizomba was like more Tarraxinha, was in the Lambada clubs, Lambada Zouk.
Mhm.
It's later it changed into Zouk, what
Mhm.
they call it, because they started dancing to Zouk music.
Mhm.
And yes, so all the Angolans would go to these clubs because of the music. So we didn't have our own clubs anymore at that point. So I started dancing salsa because I was like, no, I'm not, I don't mind tarraxinha. I can dance tarraxinha, but tarraxinha for Angolans is more you dance with your partner.
Yes.
Don't really dance with just anyone,
Mhm.
right? So, and then I taught a few other people. There was this lady. She's living in China now, but her name is Nadia Yamin. She used to dance salsa. I think she even won some salsa competitions as well. She was quite known back then. And I taught her to dance kizomba, and she really loved it. And then we used to dance in these lambada clubs. We used to dance. I used to always lead her, and people used to always ask, "What is this?" Because they thought what they were dancing, like the lambada, was the way to dance to
Mhm.
this music. And I said, "No, this is kizomba." I used to say, "This is kizomba." So they asked me at the time, "Why don't you start teaching this? This is really good." And they says, "Yeah, but because it's to us palops, Angolan palops, it's not a new kind of dance. To the majority of people, it will be. So."
Mhm.
I'm not going to dance with a woman. You have to usually have like a couple, a proper. Now it doesn't matter, but
Mhm.
back then it's a new dance for non-palops. We have to showcase it with the men, but there was no one that would fit the bill. So there was one time I remember I was in Scala at the time, and on the top floor at the time there used to be the lambada room. And I do this for Lambada because now it's called Zouk. It's not called Lambada now, but
Mhm.
at the time it was still a Lambada Zouk or something.
So Scala is a club in London, right?
It's a club in
Yeah.
London,
Okay.
yes.
Mhm.
So I met this guy, which a
Mhm.
lot of people know who he is, called Quenda Lima.
Mhm.
Yes. And I saw him dancing. He's Cape Verdean, he's not Angolan. So we do
Mhm.
have different styles, but he's an amazing dancer. And I saw him dancing. And so, oh, and he saw me dancing because I was leading my friends. And so, and then I invited him to teach with me because I wanted to teach. I was already teaching people, like
Mhm.
privately, they wanted to learn Kizomba. There were Kizomba clubs, Angolan Kizomba clubs, but not to the public, not
Mhm.
to the majority of the public, just for the palops. And then I asked him because he had just recently moved to London,
Mhm.
and he wanted to teach because I think he was teaching in Portugal. I didn't even know that Kizomba was being taught anywhere. I had no idea. But then he said, yes, in Portugal, just recently they had started teaching. I think this was 2004.
Mhm.
And so he asked me, no, I asked him if he wanted to teach with me. And he said, yeah, sure. So, but again, we had to make it known.
Mhm.
So I had already a place where we started teaching, but we wanted to reach a bigger audience. So this is where I think a lot of people know who Iris de Brito is.
Mhm.
She was a salsa dancer. I think she does still do a lot of
Mhm.
salsa. She's an amazing salsa dancer. And So because she was very well known, so in this same club Scala, so she did a demo of Kizomba. Because she's also from Angola, so she did a demo of Kizomba with Kwenda on stage. In the meantime, there was no social media back then. Let's just make this clear. 2004, no social media. So we people used flyers, give the flyers outside, right? Or via emails. So I was in the background taking emails from everybody. Did you like that dance? Did you like that dance? So yeah, would you like to try it? So then Iris set up a workshop where the three of us were teaching. And so we had quite a few people from salsa, but the majority of the people that actually did the classes were from the lambada because of the music was similar. Well, it's the same kind of music. So the lambada clubs, I remember the majority of people dancing lambada in that little corner was the kizomba, ones that wanted to learn kizomba. And but it was only there. And then there were other people, like there was this lady called Marie Doyan, and she at the time she used to come to my class and then Kwenda's class as well. So she set up this what you call Kizomba UK, and then she had Edith and then another person, another promoter called Danilo Gonçalves. So the three of them set up Kizomba UK, and because both, obviously she had a lot of contacts with the salsa in the salsa scene. So that's when they started doing the El Grande in the one of the rooms when he was still at the Colosseum in Vauxhall. So they started doing the Kizomba Day. So I had left for a while because with the young child it was difficult for me to teach. So I think for 1 year I stopped. But then so Kwenda started teaching with one of our students that became our student. He started teaching with her, but then he decided to move back to Portugal. So then, I mean, I know he worked with Irish as well, and they were doing some workshops as well. And then I came back. I think it was just for a few months. Then I came back because he left, but they needed the same place. They already had quite a few students, so they needed somebody to teach. So I came, I took his place. I started, continued teaching, and there I remember for at least a year, if I'm not mistaken, I was the only Kizomba teacher in the country. I know others were doing here and there, but not like as in continuously every week. So but it was mostly just in London. And then students then became teachers. Some of my students became teachers, and then their students became teachers, and and this is kind of snowballed. It became big, but at the time it was a small group of people, and if you ever speak to Quenda, he's going to tell you how hard it was to get the people to start. And I think that's with the Kizomba UK, getting the salsa people involved. Yeah. So then they started learning, listening to the music. Oh, this especially, it was very good. The Colosseum, El Grande was very good as a springboard in a way, because there was so many people dancing salsa. So they would go into the Kizomba room. Oh, what's this? Then they would like it, So yes, I guess I was the first Kizomba teacher in the UK, but me and Kwenda, myself and Kwenda, yeah. Oh, Kwenda and I, as an English teacher, I should know better.
Yeah, that's okay.
Right, and he we kind of opened the doors, and then it kind of snowballed from there, and
Sure did.
and then
To
other
where we are now,
countries
yeah.
started teaching, and then I started going abroad to teach, and yeah, but it took a few years for it to actually become what it has become now. But yes, I did my part. A lot of people worked a lot more than I did. I just introduced, in a way, I introduced Kizomba to some people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to the masses, but to at least some of the people. And then, yeah, and then
No,
it kind of snowballed, and it really snowballed to the point that everywhere in the world they dance Kizomba.
It's grown phenomenally. It's just
phenomenally,
massive.
Yes. And then obviously I came back, then there was chocolate Kizomba with tea. He had it first at Corks. I think this was, yeah. And then moved to Club 229, and then he moved to Jambar, which is now Be at One, isn't it? Is it
That's right. That's correct. Yeah.
Be at One?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yes. So I was there for 10 years
Wow.
teaching. I
Yeah.
was one of the resident teachers, along with, and funny enough, the other two teachers were my students.
And this
You
place
know.
is one of the most popular nights in London. Be at One Bar. So we can talk about that a bit later on. But if you're ever in London, that's a place you've got to check out. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Riquita, there's so much to unpack here. I mean, I've got so many questions for you around what you're saying here. All right, let me go back. So we're talking about teaching then, and I asked you about, how you got into teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you've explained. So I want to ask you now then, in terms of teaching, who were some of the people that inspired you, or didn't? Was there anyone that inspired you that you look at and you think, oh, they're a great teacher, or you take things from them? Like that.
You have to understand, nobody was teaching Kizomba.
Okay, at that time. So it was just okay. Yeah.
Okay, like I said, I used to teach just privately, one-on-one. I'd never taught like groups of people. So in that sense, kind of Kwenda had already taught in Portugal. So he already had a little bit of baggage. So he knew how to. So I was basically, in those days, I was teaching the ladies. He would be teaching the men, or the leaders, and we were just showcasing it. So I kind of took his lead in a way. But so we worked together for almost a year, and then when I started doing it by myself, and I used to be so scared of public speaking. It's one thing, I'm there, he's doing most of the work, and yes, I'm explaining to the ladies, but it's another thing, I am taking over. And I remember the first time he had to go on holiday, or he had to go back to Portugal for like a couple of weeks, and I had to take over. And I was shaking. I was, oh my God, I have to do this. I have to take the responsibility now, right? And but then once you do it a few times, it's like nothing. It becomes like very, very easy, but it was so hard at the time to do it myself. Like, I now have no issues. I'm a teacher. I have no problem with public speaking. I've taught like hundreds, like in festivals. I've taught like huge numbers of people, but it comes with confidence. Once you are confident in what you do, it's not an issue. If you're not confident, and I wasn't confident teaching by myself. Teaching one person, me and you, it's fine, no problem. Teaching a group of people where everybody's like looking at you, like, okay, you're in charge. You're basically in charge.
It's a tough gig.
Tough gig, yeah.
So what I wanted to ask you then was, in terms of, okay, I come to one of your classes, or somebody's new is coming to one of your classes, what can they expect from a class with Riquita? So I know that I've had some classes with you, and I'm a little bit challenged when it comes to dancing. I'm not a natural dancer.
But
my
you
wife
do it
is a
very
natural
well.
dancer. She can move and do all that kind of stuff. But me, I have to learn. I don't have the natural ability of dance. So if somebody is new to dance and they're a little bit like me, what is it in your class? How do you basically, what is a class like with Riquita? I'm trying to figure out.
Have to bear in mind that most of the time that I'm teaching, I teach every level, but the majority of the times that I'm teaching, I tend to teach the higher level. So at this point, when you come to my class, you already need to know your foundation. Not everybody does, though, because everybody teaches differently. And I always find it bizarre that most people will choose the least experienced person to teach beginners. And to me, beginners should be taught by the most experienced teacher. Because the foundation, especially Kizomba, I don't know what the dance is, but with Kizomba, foundation is the key to a good dancer. You don't need to know any moves, because the moves, all the saidas, all the tricks, you pick it up like this. The foundation is the hardest part to learn in Kizomba. Having said this, it's not difficult, but it is the more challenging part of learning Kizomba. So if you are going to have somebody teaching Kizomba, beginners, you need to have somebody that knows what they're doing, that knows their foundation back to front, in and out, and knows how to actually transfer it to the students, transmit it to the students, if I will. To me, when I come to my classes, if I'm already doing an intermediate class, for instance, you need to know the foundation. A lot of people don't. So I kind of, because of that, as a result of that, doesn't matter what level I'm doing. If I'm doing a high level, I'm still always going to teach the foundation. It doesn't matter. You should know already, but if you don't know, I always put, I see people, and I'm not criticizing everybody. Anyone has the right to teach the way that they see fit, and it works. It works. Their style works, but my style works as well. So, what I don't particularly agree with people teaching a higher level, and they only teaching tricks, because Kizomba is not about the tricks. That's like 30% of the dance, and not with every song. We do tricks with faster paced music, mid tempo to higher tempo, something slow. We don't really. We just focus on the foundation. So if they come to my class, I will always have the foundation in it. And then I insert Kizomba, because you will dance, those tricks are danced in the foundation, within the foundation. You can't just dance tricks on their own. They don't make sense. So I always have to do the foundation. Some people used to find that they say, "Oh, your classes are too difficult." I said, "Why?" They had no issues with the tricks. They had issues with the foundation. I said, "But this is something that you should have already learned.
Mm.
When you come to my lesson, you need to know this." And for that reason, I always will teach the foundation to anybody that comes. But if I'm teaching beginners, obviously it's about the music. People need to know the music, need to feel that music, and there are going to be some people that are more challenged. They find it a lot more challenging to learn Kizomba. So you have to be very patient. You have to be repetition. You have to repeat over and over and over again the same things. I know that some people may, some of the ones that learn quite quickly, they can get a bit bored. So it's the same thing that we're learning. But I say, if you want to be a good dancer, you need to repeat. With anything, repetition is key. If you just want to move up, and I see a lot of students trying to move up very quickly, because they think they can. And I always think it's up to the teacher to tell you, move up. However, not a, I understand that people doing this as a business as well. So people, I've seen teachers that don't allow their students to go up, not for the correct reasons, but if they keep them in the beginners, the more money they're gonna make. Which again, I am not a promoter. I'm a teacher. So, and this is what I like to do. I would not go into the side of promotion because I don't have the time, and I don't have, to me, Kizomba, I love Kizomba. Absolutely love, and absolutely love teaching. I don't want to make it my life. I don't want to make it my job. To me, Kizomba teaching has always been a hobby. Yes, I think if I was to do this as a job, then it would take the fun out of it, because the teaching part is the fun part. Everything that comes behind it, yes, that's what brings you a lot of stress. You have to get the students, you have to do a lot of promotion, you have to, my gosh, it's a lot of work. And I know, and I take my head out to you for all the organizers, because it is a lot of work. And it's work that I don't particularly want to do, because I want to keep it fun. I want to just teach, because teaching is the fun part for me. Because if I do it as a job, I am going to stop enjoying it. And I don't want to stop enjoying dancing Kizomba.
You love it
So I
too
have
much.
my job,
Yeah.
which I also love because I'm teaching. I
Yeah.
teach English and Portuguese,
Yes,
which you were
I'm
in my
trying
class.
to learn Portuguese. Challenging, but yes.
Yes. So yes, but again, the teaching part is the fun part. Everything that comes, all the preparation, that takes ages and takes a lot of work. Not to say that I'm not hardworking. I'm just saying that I have a lot of work myself. I have another job, so I don't want to make Kizomba my job. I want to have Kizomba as something that I have fun with, fun doing. So to me, it's not a business, right? It's just to make people enjoy themselves and be happy. So when I see people keeping their students in that level for financial reasons, again, I'm not going to judge anybody. People do whatever they want. But I think, you should, if you think your student is up to go up. On the other hand, I also see teachers that sending their students to levels that they're not comfortable with yet. But again, it's a balance. It's finding,
100% balance.
it's a balance, because, but every teacher is different. Every teacher has their own methods of doing things. I have my method. My methods have changed. My structure of teaching has changed throughout the years, because you learn more. Like when we first started teaching, I had no idea I mean, yes, one-on-one is different, is totally different. But when you're teaching like groups of people where everybody is different, then you have to use differentiation. Any teacher will know. Any teacher will know what differentiation means that not everybody is the same. Not
Yes.
everybody learns at the same
Yeah.
pace. So you have to change
Mhm.
what you're doing according to each individual.
Mhm.
Not every teacher does that. So they're like one size fits all. It doesn't.
Mhm.
One size doesn't fit all. So whatever like, if I'm teaching something really complicated, but I'm like in an intermediate level, something complicated. So I try to do the complicated step, but then I try to simplify it,
Mhm.
make it a different way.
Mhm.
The same step, but
Simple.
simplified
Yeah.
for those that find it more challenging.
Mhm.
Because within any level, there's going to be different levels of learners,
100%.
right? So a good teacher should be able to differentiate,
Mhm.
to cater for the needs of every student. So, and that's what I try to do. But I've had people come to my classes, they think themselves that, oh yeah, because I've done salsa, it's a totally different dance.
Yeah.
Don't come to my intermediate level if you've never done Kizomba. You need to start from the beginning. But then there's other, oh, because so and so taught me this way, told me that I'm intermediate. And then you come to my intermediate class and say, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna tell you
Mm.
to your face like, oh no, you're not. I just say, oh, maybe I think you should go down to the next. It's best to know this well before you move up. Know it well, know your foundation really, really well, because once you know that, the rest is so easy to learn. But I try to be polite and diplomatic. I hope it works.
No, listen, I think
I don't know
anybody
if it
who's
works
watching
all the
this
time.
now who is new and wanting to learn, I think this is golden. So try not to run before you can walk. So
Always.
those basics are really, really, really important. And we've talked about this before, but you're getting it now from one of the best teachers ever. So please make sure you do your basic steps.
Always.
But
Always. The foundation of
always.
Kizomba is the key. Like
Yes.
you go to Angola, you go to Portugal, go to any palop party, you will see the majority of people just dancing on the foundation, on the basics. Yes, they may do a few tricks here and there, but the majority of the time they are going to concentrate on the foundation. And a lot of people say, oh, but that's boring because you don't do, especially people that come in from salsa and from other dances. It's not. I guarantee you, it's not boring. When it's well danced, it's the music and it's that connection to the music. If it's well danced, it's smooth. It's just a feel good
Yeah.
dance. Feel good. If you concentrate on steps and all tricks, you're not exactly. I don't see how that having fun, because then you're just concentrating on the steps and not on the music
Mhm.
and not on having fun. So I see a lot of people doing all these amazing tricks, but then where's the foundation? It's not there, And visually, it may look very appealing, but
Yeah.
feelings wise, like they say, the Kizomba is about feeling. It's such a feeling dance that you feel something inside. So I've seen dances, even Angolan dances, that amazing visually. Oh my God. Because nowadays, especially when it turned more into Semba. And I know this is controversial. A lot of people, Semba and Kizomba are the same dance. The only thing that changes is the music. Foundation is the same. Yes, the frame, Kizomba, we tend to have more close frames. Semba has to be more open frames. But it's still the same dance. Nothing changes. It changes, the music changes. So obviously, when you dance into Semba music, you will dance more with the Semba frame.
Yeah.
All right. Although to Palops, it doesn't really matter. Whether you're dancing to Semba music or Kizomba music, they dance the same.
Dance, yeah.
It's the same thing. So to us, there's not so much as that divide. That's when people are, because it came to a point that when people were dancing Semba steps, which is still Kizomba, to Kizomba music, or it's dancing Kizomba to Semba, or oh no, why are you dancing like this? That's Semba. It's the same dance. Come on, people. It is the same dance. It doesn't really matter to us, Palop people, Angolan people. It doesn't matter. It's the dance that matters. It's the music that matters. You enjoy yourself. It's about enjoyment. So there's no such thing as it has to be Semba steps. It has to be Kizomba steps. It's the same dance. Hello. So not everybody's going to agree with me, but it is the same dance.
And not
I
everybody's gonna.
guarantee you, it is the same
Not
dance.
everybody would have heard that as well. Some people would have, but not many people will be hearing that for the first time right now.
Yeah, possibly. It's the same
You know?
dance. You see the foundation. The
Yeah.
foundation is the same. Like I said, Semba was not a partner dance. It was like say they dance in circles, and then two people in the middle, they would dance like just winding down and then doing the masemba. But did we dance with as partners to Semba music? Yes, but not just to Semba music, to all other types of African music. We used to dance like that. So it's not necessarily that is Semba.
Yeah.
But Semba as a music, for sure, it's predates quite by a lot, Kizomba music for sure. So I actually lost my train of thought
No, it's
because I
okay.
talk a
No
lot.
problem. It's fine. It's good. You're here to talk. It's Kizomba Conversations. So, all right. So, okay, let me ask you a few more questions then. So what I like about you, Riquita, is so when you teach, well, when you dance actually, again, visually and what you do, there's so many tricks that you execute, right? But the tricks, they look really good, right? And if you Google Riquita Alta, what dancing, you'll see her dancing with a number of different people. And you've got some great people. So we have some great people like Eddie, Vance, Rico Suave, and Tanya. There's lots of different people that you can view you dancing with. So I don't necessarily, it's not a case of you choosing, but I just wanted to ask you, who do you really like dancing with, or who connects with you quite well?
Rico.
Rico, okay.
Rico, I mean, all like you said, the people that you named, they're amazing dancers. They're all them amazing dancers. But there's just something about Rico and I that it's just so when we're dancing, and even people say this, I'm not a show person. Kizomba is a social dance. It's not a show dance. Semba, as in when they do a lot of those tricks, all the footwork, yes, can be. But again, it's the men that do the footwork. So the reason I prefer the old school Kizomba is because being within the frame, all the steps that we did were still within the frame. Yes, we were going out, but the frame stayed. All the tricks that they do with their feet, we had to do as well. Right? It's like a lot harder to do old school Kizomba than it is to do these days because yes, the men do a lot of tricks, but when they're doing that is when the women are outside of frame. Yeah, not within the frame. So then what the women do, they walk because they say when the women walk, they're with the beat keepers. So the men do a lot of tricks and then they have to come back to the beat.
Yeah.
So to me, it gets boring. I love it still, but it gets boring because all I'm doing is walking from left to right, left to right, left to right. Hello, I want to do tricks as well, footwork too. So I like to dance with the older generation, much like me, or older than me, because whatever the tricks they do, like all the footwork I'm doing as well. So whenever I lead, and I try to teach some of these in my classes, whenever I lead, a lot of the ladies say, "Oh my God, you're doing things that I've never done," and it's quite challenging because this is where you can see a good dancer, a good follower, when she can follow all those little footwork that the man does, the leader does, she'll be able to follow anyone, right? So, and because I danced like that all my life, so to me, it's no problem. So Rico is like in his name, Rico Suave. Suave means soft, smooth, right?
We had
so
him here.
it's very, very, very. He's very smooth, and we just have this connection when we dance. I mean, he's had other partners, and he's had amazing partners, really, really good dancers. They are very show dancers, yeah, because they can do a show.
Yeah.
If I do a show, I just look weird, look ridiculous, because Kizomba is a social dance. So but when I dance with him, so many people have commented that it's just the smoothness between us. We literally look like one person dancing, and this is what Kizomba was always meant to be, right? So I do love dancing with Rico because it's just, I feel like I don't even have to make any effort. But having said that, there's so many others that I love, love, love dancing with, like Dajmara. Dajmara is like a dream dancing with. Tocosta, amazing. And Tocosta does a lot of the old school, which, I love the old school. And yes, then there's Paulo Isidoro, there's Bonifacio, like all these amazing, really amazing dancers. And yes, but Rico is just whenever we dance, we just have that connection that I don't think I've had with anyone else. Yeah, but to be honest, when whoever I dance with, I'm always going to connect with them.
Yeah.
Always, because it's like I want them to feel the dance is not just for me, it's for them as well. So I want them to feel like they can connect with me. That is, I want to give them the best dance of their life, right? So I make myself pliable, if we will, like plasticine or something, or Play-Doh, right? And I want to give them the best dance possible, so that's why I will adapt myself to everyone. That's why I always tell my followers, adapt yourself um to their rhythm and to the way that they dance. And that's why I also each try to teach all this old school stuff. So but then they go to so many other classes and they find that a little bit more challenging, so they end up not doing it. So I try to do it when I lead. To give the women, the followers, the feeling of, oh, this is different. This is fun. I'm telling you, old school Kizomba is the best. I swear to you.
Old school, always. So
Oh.
with that then, Riquita, you talk about the tricks and making it feel different. Is there any move in particular that you like executing? Yeah, so that you like delivering. Anything come to mind? Move that you do that you like, this is me. What do you enjoy doing?
Well, as a leader, or as a follower?
As a leader.
As a leader, it's always going to go back to the foundation. When if you're doing it well, and if the woman can follow, oh my gosh, it's a dream. But all those little intricate footwork that you make the woman do, and if she's able to follow that, that means you're doing a good job, as well. Having said that, not because they always say if the woman makes a mistake, it's the leader's fault.
Hear that?
I don't agree with that. I'm sorry.
Okay,
cool. It's not the leader.
Cool.
It depends on it depends. It can be. It's nobody's fault. Things happen. Things happen. Make a mistake. Smile. Ha ha. Go back. Continue dancing. I usually just throw my head back and laugh with abandon, and then let's go back to the dance, because it's about having fun. You make a mistake, so what? It's a mistake.
Exactly.
But those little intricate just footwork, playing with the chest, playing with the feet, and having the women do the same, and then just following, making sure that they look like they're literally the reflection of yourself, of your movements. To me, that's I don't require any saidas, any big tricks and lifts and whatnot. Don't require that to be happy. I require somebody that knows their foundation well. Yeah. And if you know the foundation well, and if you know how to follow the music, first and foremost, if you know how to follow that, I'm good. I'm happy.
It's really important that people hear this, and it's nice to hear as well, because we were talking about before, you say that sometimes people aren't ready for your lesson, depending on they'll come in, they think they're ready, but you say no, you have to go back. And I think sometimes with men, a lot of that is to do with they just wanting to be good, or they see maybe a Rico or somebody else who's really, really good, and they just want to copy that, but they're going too fast sometimes. Because let's face it, with men, it's all about performance, right? I said that before. We try to perform and make you guys happy, and all that kind of stuff, right? So they want to be that guy. But I think that just hearing you say that you don't require all those crazy steps, or all those, I don't say crazy, but all those fun, wild
They're
steps.
fun.
Yeah, but it's just the simple things. And I hear a lot of women say that as well, because they say some of the best dances they have is just following the basics, listening to the music. It doesn't have to be that. So it's just good to hear. Well, for guys anyway, for some guys.
Yeah, but like I was saying before, I've seen visually some guys that are absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But then I like to look at what they're doing, and especially what is the woman doing? How are they leading the woman? Right? They're doing a lot of things, and so everybody's eyes are on the man.
Yeah.
But everybody's forgetting the woman. So then if I'm going to dance with that guy, I'm going to see what is she doing? What are her steps? And if they tend to be just the same steps, like left to right, left to right, left to right, I don't want to dance with that person. And it's happened that I did dance with guys that were visually amazing, but when they danced with me, I was okay.
Okay.
What's that? Yeah, it's good for show. For show is good. But then what? So, and then I've danced with guys that I will always know when a guy's a good dancer or a woman's a couple is a good dancer. I will always know. just by their foundation. If they have very good foundation, doesn't matter if they do lots of tricks, but if their foundation is really good, it may not be visually appealing, because some people say, "Oh, that guy doesn't dance well, or that woman doesn't," because they look stiff, or they don't have that jinga, that natural body movement. But when you dance with them, oh my God, they're so good,
Mm.
you know. So I pay attention, I observe.
Yeah.
So if I see that the foundation, I look at the feet, the foundation is good, I'm gonna want to dance with that person. If they do a lot of tricks, but the woman is just doing the same thing all the time, yeah, nah. It's not about how it looks, it's about how it feels, for sure.
Not about how it looks, it's about how it feels. So let's remember that. Okay. Okay.
Pearls of
Cool.
wisdom.
Absolutely. All right. Just thinking about time, right? So got a few more questions for you, Riquita, if that's
Oh
okay.
yes, my goodness. Look at the
So
time.
I wanted to ask you. So we've talked about Kizomba, obviously, and just how it's grown phenomenally because it's just an amazing. The music gets you. So I wanted to think about how does it feel for the music that is part of your country, your heritage? How does it feel to you to see it just blow up like this and just to be this world phenomenal thing? What's the feeling you're getting?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing to know that something part of my culture, that I grew up with, and that was the reason why I started teaching, because I wanted, I didn't want to just dance the hashinya, let's face it, and B, I wanted people to know what my culture was about. Yes, I was selfish in a way, because I wanted people, if I'm not going to dance like to the type of dance that I grew up with the palops, I'm going to dance with other people. So I'm going to teach them. So I just wanted other people to enjoy what I enjoyed all my life, which, I mean, as you know, and it's just something that you kind of, it's indescribable. You can't explain it, you have to experience it for yourself. So if you haven't done Kizomba, you are losing out. You're missing out
Exactly.
a lot, because this is amazing.
And then
It's the best, yeah.
and then building on that, what are your hopes for Kizomba for the future?
That it continues growing, definitely it continues growing. Yes, I know there's a lot of people that, there's new styles of Kizomba. Well, they call it Kizomba, but it's not Kizomba anymore, but born out of Kizomba, as we know, which does not resemble Kizomba anymore to this day. So that's kind of taking over, but Kizomba is still there and it's still growing, and I want it to continue growing, and I want people to know what the real, authentic Kizomba is about, you know. And yes, hopefully it will continue growing, and more people will get to know about it. The
Absolutely.
real Kizomba.
The real.
I need to emphasize that. Yeah,
Yes.
very important.
Okay, no, that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay. All right. So again, we've got some people watching who probably have Googled you or seen you dance. Some know you, but then some don't. So some of these people might be thinking, you know what, I actually want to be a teacher, or I want to get into teaching. So if they are thinking that, what kind of advice or what would you say to them if they're wanting to become a Kizomba teacher?
Know your foundation. Do not teach without knowing music first, and your foundation. If you're going to, yeah, and you have to know how to teach. So practice a lot. Practice with your friends, even. It happens. This is how I started. I was practicing teaching people that I knew, friends, and watch other teachers teaching. Watch their methods. Find out which one resonates with you, the one that you think is the best for you. Don't just. I had to start from scratch, from not knowing how to do it, right? And making lots of mistakes along the way. But now there's so many teachers out there, and there are so many really really good teachers. Go maybe for some of them are doing teacher training, but again, choose a very reputable somebody that really knows the music, really knows how to teach. But I always say, if you are going to teach, you need to be a good dancer. You need to know how to dance. There's no point in teaching something that you don't know. You need to know how to teach, but you need to know how to dance first and foremost, right?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. 'Cause there are a lot of good teachers, good dancers out there that don't know how to teach.
Yeah. Exactly.
Teaching is a skill. But if you don't know how to dance either, what are you going to do? How are you going to teach it? So know your craft well. Follow other, go to teacher trainings, and watch a lot of other teachers teaching what methods they use and which ones you think is best for you, and then just try, But again, you want your students to be good dancers. So you don't want people along the way to say, oh my God, I wasted my time with this person because I didn't know any better. Don't want that. You want people to your calling card is your students, basically. If you have students that, yes, not every teacher, not every student is going to become good. Unfortunately, that's just the way. It's not just the responsibility of the teachers, the responsibility of the students to also practice and work hard. But not everybody is going to be, unfortunately, not everybody. But you can still learn. You can still learn. Just apply yourself, be dedicated, and eventually you'll get there. But people sometimes fall by the wayside because they don't see results, and then they're like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. But no, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Practice.
Practice makes perfect.
Like anything in life, isn't it? Practice.
Definitely.
Okay. So thank you, Riquita.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You know how happy I am that you're here. So that's, what can I say? Lots of pearls of wisdom. And it's just great to have someone of your caliber just talk to us and sit with us and be on the show. So thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me.
But before we release you, we just want to have a few quick fire questions.
Oh, the quick fire questions.
But these are just fun questions, okay? So just fun questions.
Something that comes up first thing that comes up.
Wow. This is how we do it. All right. So there's 4 cards here. Gonna get you to pick 3.
Pick 3.
And whichever one is left, I'll try and answer it. So we'll do it one at a time. So choose one.
Choose one. Let's go for this.
All right. So you read it out.
Read it out loud.
Give us your answer. Yeah.
What is the longest number of nights you have danced Kizomba back to back?
Yes. Can you remember that?
I'm not sure if I can remember back to back, but I can remember the longest time that I danced 8 hours nonstop with the same person.
With the same person?
When I say nonstop, of course, the bathroom breaks.
Yeah.
But literally 8 hours.
Was that in the UK?
In Portugal.
In Portugal.
Yes.
Wow.
Our dancing connection was just that good.
Wow.
No, mind you, I lie. I did dance with a couple of other guys when he went to the toilet. However, most of the time, we didn't look at the time. We started early. And then by the time they finished, in Portugal, they go until late. I think there was a matinee and then it just went on and continued. By the time we noticed, 8 hours had gone past.
I don't even think a club in London goes on for 8 hours. I don't know.
I think it was a matinee and then it continued. And then we kind of moved to the club next door or something because there was another party.
Right.
And then that's how it happened.
Okay.
Now, nights, I don't know. A lot.
It's a lot.
I used to teach like 5-6 nights a week. So
could build up.
Yeah. Could be that.
Well, that's I think nobody's gonna. Well, I can't. I haven't heard of anyone breaking that record of 8 hours.
Listen, even I didn't even notice. Yeah.
Okay.
If you were trying to sell Kizomba to a friend who has not tried it and has not seen any videos, how would you describe it to them? Bliss. Oh, like a feeling like no other. Are you sold?
Completely.
There you go.
Completely. Completely.
And okay. Which Kizomba artist or band would you love to see in concerts? Oh my God. Funny enough, I've never seen Bonga, which is bizarre because Bonga is such a big name. I've seen Kassav, which I've seen Yuri da Cunha, one of my favorites. I even danced on stage with him. And yes, I have to put that in. And
plug it out. Okay.
And Paulo Flores, which they're like my favorites. So maybe Bonga I would have liked to see him in concert live, which I haven't seen him before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful.
That's the one that came to mind.
No?
I've never seen him.
And that's fine.
I never heard him in a concert. So yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So the question you didn't get, this is a funny one. So the question you didn't get, right, that I got. Do you ever get bored of dancing Kizomba? So for me, no. I'm gonna guess, but I shouldn't assume. So do you ever get bored of dancing Kizomba, Riquita?
Do you ever get bored of eating?
No, I guess not.
I don't think, yes. Right? Do you get bored of sleeping?
No, I guess not.
We all need this,
Yeah.
right? We need to sleep. We need to eat. This is how Kizomba is. I need Kizomba to live. There you go.
We couldn't have ended on a better note than that. Eat, sleep, dance.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
There you go. Those are the three most important things in life.
Where can we find you, Riquita?
All right. I am not as active as I used to be. Again, for personal reasons, job, work. Now I teach in the evening, so it's very difficult for you to see me. But lately, I've been teaching every week, every Saturday at Club Visio. But they've had their last night yesterday, but they're looking for another venue. Once they do, probably will continue there. And occasionally, I teach. I'm not the resident teacher anymore at Chocolate for because I can't physically be there, but once in a while I do still teach there. And once in a while I also teach at O'Neill's at Fridays. So yeah, those are most likely. But I'm always happy to do private lessons because I mean, one-on-one. Hey, who doesn't want that, right? But yes, not as much as I used to be because again, 20 years, literally 20 years nonstop teaching. So it's I'm not sure whether it's time to to retire,
No, never,
but
never.
but I will never stop teaching Kizomba. I may not teach as regularly as I used to, but I will always be here if anyone needs me.
Fantastic. So I just wanted to ask, I'm not sure about this, but do you, because obviously we're based in London, most of it for us here on the podcast, but do you have any socials that people can reach you at or anything like that, or not necessarily?
Obviously, I have if you want to reach me, I also have Instagram, Riquita Bailunda. Bailunda is the name of a tribeswoman from my hometown in Angola.
Okay.
Okay. And then, yes, my Facebook, Riquita Alta. And places that I go, like O'Neill's on Friday for the, they're gonna start a new evening called Unida on every Friday. And then there's like the one Sunday a month at O'Neill's still with Adriana Neves. And then there's Chocolate Kizomba on Tuesdays at Be at One, which I go there once in a while. And then there's others, but at the moment I can't. But those are the ones that I tend to go. Obviously, and the Saturday, which at the moment it ended yesterday, and I do go there as well. With Kizomba Addiction, look up Kizomba Addiction, and you'll find um, where they're teaching at the moment. So yes, I will continue teaching. I will always be here.
And it's great. We need you here. So
thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was fun.
Good. Good. Fun for me as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having
me. As always, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Hope you had a great time today and enjoyed the show with myself and Riquita here. As always, we're signing out now, but please ensure that you like, subscribe, tell us what you think about the show in the episode. So all we have to say now is keep dancing and we'll see you on the dance floor. Peace.